we're going to go 5 rounds, and this is the way we'll do this for all the positions. But maybe see, hey, maybe there's some surprises here. Again, this is for next year. This is not necessarily lifetime achievement award. But I thought this would be a good way to talk about some different teams and different players as we head towards the 2023 season. So let's get this thing cranked up. I'm gonna.
You get first. You got first pick because it doesn't matter who has first pick because the first pick is going to be the same person who regardless of who it is at quarterback. So
you don't need to spend much time on that. So you're a gentleman. You're a kind gentleman. You're gonna give me Patrick Mahomes. I'm gonna take Patrick Mahomes. No, I mean on schedule, off schedule. The thing with him, I think that people don't understand how hurt he was. Like. That ankle was jacked up, and he went out there and just willed his team to another Super Bowl. Incredible, man.
No, it's incredible. So it's incredible in a few different aspects. The conversation prior to the season when they let Tyreek Hill walk, everyone's like, oh, my God, how are they going to be able to do this? Yada, yada, yada. Like, you got an all-pro receiver and this and that. You can't replace him. He's one of one. And what they did is they actually removed the crutch from Patrick Mahomes. They made Patrick Mahomes actually expand his game and become a better quarterback. Because before it was easy. My guy on the perimeter is better than your guy. I'm just going to throw it up. I'm going to play the matchup game. Well, now you remove that piece. He now has to read the defense. He now has to work the progressions and really utilize all of the options that are included in each route concept. And it made him a more dangerous player. And so as Patrick Mahomes gets older and he's able to rely less on his athleticism and his physical gifts and more on his mind and his understanding of what's going on, he is going to be a more dangerous player. And to me, I believe Andy Reid had the confidence to do that. When we were in Green Bay, I got there after Sterling Sharp was injured and his career ended. But for Brett Favre, when Sterling Sharp had to go away, he then had to become a better quarterback because he had to utilize all the things. Andy Reid was there for all of that. I think he saw this as an opportunity to help his quarterback become even better. And what you've seen is a guy that is an MVP and a Super Bowl MVP.
No doubt. So that was an easy one here. You're up here with pick number 2.
So pick number 2 is tough, right? Because I'm sitting here, I'm going to go with Joe Burrow from the Cincinnati Bengals. And part of the reason why I'm going to go with Joe Burrow, it has nothing to really do with the talent. It has all to do with the composure, the confidence, and the swagger that he has infused into the Cincinnati Bengals since he stepped onto the scene. You got to remember, when we're in the scouting world, we always talk about, or we talk to coaches who say, man, give me winners. I want guys to come from winning programs because what they do is they change the culture in the locker room. And there are a couple of types of leaders, and he is what we call a thermostat leader. The temperature changes in the room when he walks in. And what Joe Burrow has been able to do in Cincinnati is to take a downtrodden franchise, and yes, he's surrounded by terrific weapons. T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase, all those things. But Joe Burrow is the straw that stirs the drink. His ability to play point guard in a fast break offense makes this team dangerous. And when he said, our Super Bowl win is for as long as I play, basically, to me, that is everything. Because when your quarterback feels like that and has that level of confidence, your team feeds off of that. And so Joe Burrow, to me, is right behind Pat Mahomes. I'm going to take him with my number 1 overall pick because he has everything that you look for in the position, outstanding playmaker, leader, and he has that clutch factor that you have to be an elite quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, he's gone toe-to-toe with Mahomes and more than held his own multiple times here. So he's got the better of it when you look at the career marks there. So I love Joe Burrow. I love his game. I think there's another level to it. I think there's even another level he can take it to, and I expect him to get there this year. I'm gonna go with the home team here. I'm gonna go with Herbert with my second pick, and I'm gonna give you a couple reasons why. Nobody ever doubts the skill set of Justin Herbert. You're talking about rare size to go along with the arm strength, the athleticism, the intelligence, the toughness. Like, these are things that he has that are elite, off the charts stuff. But the reason why I'm going to go with him in this spot, I mean, there's some other really talented guys there, to choose from. Because of what we preach and what we've preached on the pod for years now in terms of quarterbacks taking the next step in quarterback development. We looked at the P's. We looked at your play caller. We looked at your playmakers. We looked at your protection. You can make a case that with the changes in all 3 of those areas, that Justin Herbert's going to benefit. You look at Kellen Moore coming in. I think those guys are going to mesh very well together with that system. They're almost the same personality, from up in the Northwest. Guys that were really productive college quarterbacks. I think they have a great relationship. I think you'll see the offense open up a little bit more. So play caller, check. You look at playmakers. Well, hopefully you get a whole healthy season out of Keenan and Mike. And then you also get Jalen Guyton back off injury, who can really stretch the field. You draft Quentin Johnston in the first round to throw him into the mix. And you've got Austin Eckler on a contract year with incentive-laden contract, everything you want with that. So you could say, okay, the playmakers are in better shape. And then finally, the protection. You get all-pro left tackle, missed almost the whole season last year, and Rashawn Slater's coming back. So I think that everything around him is going to be better. And I think people forget that the hit that Herbert took early in the year, week 2 against Kansas City with that rib cartilage, never got better. He had shoulder surgery on his left shoulder in the offseason. He was playing through ribs. He was playing through his shoulder, lost his left tackle. The receivers were injured, like all that stuff, and still played pretty well. I think this could be an MVP type season from Justin Herbert, provided everybody stays healthy, which I know with the Chargers is a dangerous thing to say.
Well, I mean, it's not a dangerous thing to say. The quarterback is good enough to warrant that. I mean, there is an argument to be made that Justin Herbert could be in the conversation to be QB1 of the National Football League if everything goes well. If the team matches him where he's at, we would have that conversation. He is the prototype. DJ, when we were scouting for a long time, Justin Herbert is how you would draw him up. Like if the general manager came and said, what does a QB1 look like? It looks like Justin Herbert. It is 6'4", 6'5", has big-time arm talent, has athleticism, has high IQ, can do things on script, off script. Every time you look at Justin Herbert, and he's one of the few prospects that I've seen that is a much better pro than college player. He is so different as a pro player than he was as a collegian that it doesn't make sense. And so when everyone is mad, like, oh man, how can this guy be 56 overall pick? Well, because you didn't really see all of this at Oregon. You might have saw little flashes, but not the player that he's become with the Chargers. And so I understand why he goes up there. And you're right. If he clicks with Kellen Moore and all the weapons they have, and if they stay healthy, because that's always been the big issue.
Yeah,
we're going to have a conversation about Justin Herbert being an MVP candidate.
No, that's where I am with him. So we'll see how this season goes. All right, you got some interesting names left on the board here. Plenty of interesting names.
Man, there's so many names. There's so many names here, right? Because you got Jalen Hurts. You have so many. But I'm going to go right now. I'm going to go with Josh Allen. I'm going to go with Josh Allen because I'm still a believer in the Buffalo Bills and Bills Mafia. I'm still a believer in his talent and the unique things that he brings to the table as – man, let's call it a supersized dual threat playmaker who can win with his arms or his feet. We have seen him do Cam Newton-like stuff in the running game. Big physical power runner coming downhill. We've seen him in the red zone. There are few that can put the ball in the paint like he can as a runner. But there are also a few guys that can play like he does as a gunslinger. And when you look at the connection that he has with Stephon Diggs and how he has been able to play for the last 3 years, he has shown – I mean, he's kind of upset the apple cart when it comes to the scouting community and what we thought about quarterbacks. We thought that quarterbacks couldn't improve their accuracy and ball placement. And even though he's kind of come back to the pack a little bit when it comes to the accuracy, there's still, in a one-game scenario, it's hard to find a better quarterback that you would lean on than Josh Allen. This dude is a one-man show. And if given just a little bit of talent on the outside, he has proven that he can win games. When he's surrounded by an all-star cast, this team is what they are, a team that is worthy of being in consideration as a Super Bowl team, even though they haven't got it done. It certainly hasn't been Josh Allen's fault.
No, they got to take a little off him. He's had to do too much there, especially in the run game. Take a little bit off off his plate there. Maybe Dalton Kincaid, some of the intermediate short passing stuff, he'll be able to help as well as they mix him in to a very, very good offense that they have there in Buffalo. I like that pick. To me, the fifth guy, and I'll wait for your reaction on this one, but I feel like this is clear cut. These are the 5 best quarterbacks in the NFL, how we have them coming off the board. You can rearrange the order, but to me, this feels like the 5 guys. I'm going to go Jalen Hurts here with my next pick. So that gives us Mahomes, Burrow, Herbert, Allen, Hurts. Those to me feel like the big 5. Like we have other guys we'll get to as we go through here, and you can have the debate with Lamar Jackson. We can talk about, does DeShaun Watson get back to what he was? Obviously, Aaron Rodgers, a couple MVPs, 4 of them actually. in his past, but a little bit older. I think all those guys start factoring in after this, but to me, it feels like these are the 5 guys. And Jalen Hurts coming off an unbelievable season. He's got to be right there in the mix again as somebody you feel like could be an MVP at any moment in time here, the way he's developed so rapidly.
Absolutely. He has to be in the list. DJ, I was baiting taking him over Josh Allen. Like, that's where we're at. Based on, because what we're doing is not a lifetime achievement award. We're talking about here and now. And what good scouts are able to do is, hey, man, let's separate what someone was and let's talk about what he is right now. And there's Jalen Hurts. If he doesn't get injured, maybe he wins the MVP last year. What he's been able to do as a runner and thrower is nothing short of remarkable. The way that he has steadily improved from the time he left Oklahoma until the time he took Carson Wentz's job, and the way that he steadily improved under Nick Sirianni, he has to be in the conversation. To me, he's the model of what you want at the position in terms of his demeanor, the leadership ability he conveys, the work ethic that they talk about he displays. Yeah, he's everything. He's a self-made man when it comes to how he has made himself into a top 5 pick. He's worthy of being in that conversation.
My favorite nugget on him is the dude shows up to work with a briefcase. Like 1985. That's it, man. That's it. That's a businessman. This is his job, and he treats it as such. First one in, last one out every day. Not ever going to be outworked, and you see it. The results are there for him. So those are the top 5 guys here. You've got your 3rd pick coming up. Where are you going to go?
Man, DJ, this is tough, right? Because the names that you mentioned, like now we're a little more into speculation because it's not exactly proven and clear cut. But I'm going to put Aaron Rodgers right here. I'll take him at 6, and I'll put him at 6. And a lot of this is really on hope that he'll bounce back and be the player that he once was. Look, he dipped a little bit last year, and I know people have talked about the supporting cast, but he didn't play great. And so what I'm banking on is that he has something to prove. We've already heard about him being at OTAs, stuff that he didn't attend in the last few years with the Green Bay Packers. So he certainly doesn't want to go out like a sucker. So he's going to play well for the New York Jets. And so this year in particular, he's going to do it very much like Tom Brady. When Tom Brady left to go to Tampa, he had a little something to prove. He never said it, but you knew it was inside. He wants to prove to people in Green Bay that, hey, man, I still have it. I'm still one of the ones. And so I'm going to take him here because a very motivated Aaron Rodgers could be a very dangerous Aaron Rodgers.
Well, I mean, I don't know year 2 what that looks like. Year 1, I'm buying. I think he's gonna have a good year this year, man. Yeah, for this year, yes, this year he'll bounce back because it's personal to him, and not only personal, he's prideful. And DJ, when you're a player like him who has pride, he is not going to mess it up. They may not accomplish their goals, but it won't be because Aaron Rodgers didn't pour in. He has already done more this offseason with the Jets than he's done the last 2 off seasons with the Packers when it came to the connectivity that is necessary for the team to win. When you see him hanging around the young players, you see him kind of jumping in OTAs and being around and doing that. To me, that's a veteran that wants to make sure he puts on a very impressive show when he takes the field for the Jets this fall. No doubt. What's the phrase? I think it was Bruce Arians, no risk it, no biscuit, right?
No risk it, no biscuit.
I've been very chalky through this. And now I'm to the point where I'm willing to take, let's take the driver out of the bag. Swing. Yeah, let's take a swing here because Lamar Jackson would be the obvious pick. He's got MVP. When he's been healthy, he's been excellent. But I will say I don't know what this looks like with Todd Monk, and I know they've added these pieces around him. The offense is going to be different. We've only really seen him in one offense. I'm curious to see what it looks like here in this new version. The Ravens are chasing kind of a new identity offensively. I don't have quite as much confidence. It might be great. It might be off the charts. But I do know one thing. Where you are in Jacksonville right now, I've seen that quarterback with that play caller and how that's meshing, and I'm seeing where this is going. We talked at the top. You mentioned Calvin Ridley and what he means potentially to this offense, adding him to the mix. I'm gonna buy on Trevor Lawrence and maybe take him a little bit higher than maybe the track record would suggest, but this is about this year coming forward. I think Trevor Lawrence has a monster year. I'm gonna go with the big dude from Clemson. I'm
with you right there because the debate for me at number 6 is it Trevor Lawrence, is it Aaron Rodgers? Do you give Aaron Rodgers the nod because of what he's done and what you're hopeful that he can do? Or do you give Trevor Lawrence his just due? The thing about Trevor, and I'll say this, to me, and when we were having the coming out, I compared Trevor Lawrence to Justin Herbert. To me, I see one and the same. I see guys who can do similar things. I see guys who have similar stature.
They're both 6'6" monsters.
Yeah. Herbert, I think, has a stronger arm. Don't know how much stronger, but it appears to be stronger. But Trevor Lawrence, to me, is Justin Herbert. He can do those things. And in time, given the cast that he has around him, I think you're going to see him do some of that stuff. And so Trevor Lawrence goes your way. I'm going to take Lamar Jackson. And a lot of this is sight unseen. I have a lot of faith in Lamar Jackson, former MVP. I'm hoping that he comes back and in this offense, because I remember Lamar Jackson at Louisville, and I remember how he played at Louisville, and everyone talked about the back-to-back years with over 1,500 rushing yards. But in Bobby Petrino's system, he put up a bunch of numbers and a bunch of points. And so for Todd Monken coming in, running a traditional pass game, and they use some of that, eventually Lamar Jackson had to graduate to an offense like this if he's going to be able to play at a high level at the end of the deal that he just signed. And so the challenge will be, can Lamar Jackson meet them halfway? Can he meet the expectations that the Ravens have for him to grow and to make all these things happen as a passer? I'm going to say he's able to do it, even though we didn't put him in the top 5. Some of that is because the asterisk, let's see what this offense looks like, because you're still waiting to see. Because
health and a new offense. I mean, that's it. Those are legit questions.
Yeah, I mean, and let's Rashad Bateman, OBJ, Zay Flower. Like, there's a lot of questions, but yeah, he deserves to be up in there. So that's why I'll take him right now.
All right. I mean, I think, again, we talked about the top 5 being clear cut. I feel like, to me, the top 8, like, these are the 8 names. However you want to jostle these guys around, those feel like the 8 guys. And especially like those last 3, Rodgers, Lawrence, Lamar Jackson, I wouldn't have any issue with however you stack those 3 guys. But that, to me, feels like that clump, that next clump. Now I think it's kind of wide open where you go from here after these 8 guys. And so it's whether you want to go with somebody who's done it in the past, who maybe is, age, injury, or do you want to go with somebody you're kind of betting on taking that next step and going forward? You did it with Rodgers, banking on previous success, and then thinking that, we got another shot at this thing. I'm going to do that. I'm going to take that same approach. I'm going to go with Matthew Stafford here with the next one. And I feel like it's a little bit out of sight, out of mind. But the last time we saw him really, really healthy, the guy's hoisting Super Bowl trophy. He played out of his mind in a couple of those games, especially think about the Tampa game, what he did, making clutch plays late in that one. So I know the Rams, they're not rebuilding, reloading, whatever you want to call it. They're not a super talented team, but offensively, I still think when you look at Cooper Kupp, who he's going to be able to get the ball to, Akers in the backfield, McVay calling plays. If he stays out there and stays healthy, I think Stafford has a really good year.
Yeah, I think he could have a good year. I mean, here's the one thing that's undeniable. I remember watching him in Detroit. He has always been a guy who can sling it all over the yard. He can give his team a chance just on the strength of his right arm. That'd be ugly for the Rams because they don't have much around him, but he's certainly talented enough. And so you talked about things in the past kind of giving you confidence that Matthew Stafford can bounce back. I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to go with DeShaun Watson in Cleveland. Part of that is it was ugly last year. But part of the reason it was ugly last year, when you have a year off, I don't care what position you play, I don't care how talented you are. Being away from the NFL for a year, the rust just falls on your game. And then you think about the pressure that was on DeShaun Watson, because let's be honest and frank, DeShaun Watson has never had to play the villain role. There's certain guys that can be the guy that wears the black hat. It reminds me of when LeBron James went to Miami and everyone vilified him for the decision, and he came out and he tried to play the bad guy, but that's not who he is. DeShaun Watson is not the villain. And so I think that really messed with his game, like all of that stuff. I believe he's in a better frame of mind now. Year 2 in Kevin Stefanski's system, I expect him to play better. The other thing that will help him play better, the players around him. Amari Cooper being there, Elijah Moore being there, what they've done with the offensive line and those things, he'll play better. I expect DeShaun Watson to play at a high level. Remember 2 years ago when he played last for the Houston Texans, he was a top 5 quarterback. He can get back to that level under Kevin Stefanski and the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, they've got some dudes. I mean, they've got some pretty good pieces around him. That'll be interesting to see how that all shakes out. Well, there you have it. I came away with Mahomes, Herbert, Hurts, Lawrence, Stafford. Buck, you had Burrow, Allen, Rodgers, Lamar, Jackson, and DeShaun Watson. So those are the 10. Feel free to debate it. Let us know. I'm sure you guys have some issues with
Ooh.
how they came off the board.